We helped this Florida roofer do $285,000 in 10 weeks after he'd only been selling roofs for 4 months. And so we're going to cover how he did 130K in his first 10 days with a 57% closing ratio. We're a new roofing marketing agency that's been in business for about 16 months. We've averaged a 12x ROI, and we've completely revamped our systems over the past 6 months because of case studies like this. What happened before those 6 months? So we're going to be covering the first 2 weeks where he's had 7 appointments and 4 closes with a 57% closing rate as well. So we're going to cover how we did market research, the ads that actually ran, and also how we actually got that 100K in the first 10 days and then how it came all the way crashing down. So the main 3 things are going to be the market research and offer, as well as ads that don't suck and variations as well. And finally, there's also a little bit of luck involved. So we had 7 appointments in that first 2 weeks, and then we had 4 closes, as we can see here. Here's what the calendar looked like. The things that are in blue are things that actually ran, and the red is going to be canceled. So the offer is going to be one of the most important things. And Matt was only able to sell insurance claims instead of retail, cash, and financing. He was using something called the perils deductible, which meant that it would be a max of $2,500 for that deductible, and he had seen many homeowners qualify who weren't aware of it. This can be a really strong offer because people aren't aware of it. It's much cheaper than a $30,000, $40,000 roof. And so what we can do is what we did is we focus on more educational ads throughout the campaign, right? Number one, that's one thing that we did. And the second thing is we pointed out the fact that it was a very strong offer, which was getting a new roof as low as $1,000, which is something that Matt had seen very often. Like I mentioned, it can be really powerful because it can lead to a much broader reach to people that may not be considering a roof right now. Well, there's roughly only 3 to 5% of people that are ready to buy right now, but then there's 6 to 10% that are possibly considering it. They may be open to it, and so we're looking to target those types of people as well as people that may not even be aware or thinking about their roof too. And this kind of offer allows us to do that. We also looked into the market. So most of the market's ads all kind of look the same. And I have some examples here. These were all running in Tampa, Florida, as of September 7th, 2024. These aren't the exact ads that were running when we launched. However, they fit the above parameters, which was, again, they all look the same. They also aren't really that good. They kind of look like old school billboard ads or like corporate America. And so we decided to do something completely different. Now, one thing I want to preface is that these were before we went really deep into more ads. So if you want to see more recent ads and things that we've done, we have a full case study where we helped a client do over $600,000 in July 2024 from just Meta and YouTube ads with a 22x ROI. So you can find that case study and link either in the description or at the bottom of this of the case study. However, this was something that we looked to for inspiration of how we improved. Because these ads, although they were better than most roofing ads, in our opinion, they still aren't the best. But I'll go through the frameworks that we use to actually make this here. The biggest thing that we want to do is just be different. Because most roofing ads look the same, they all suck. So we focus on doing something more personable as well as more native to Facebook and Instagram. Now, we also tested another 30 ads, and these were the ones that actually won. And then we used good copywriting and attention-grabbing headlines to do the selling for us. As you can see, it says $1,000 for a new roof. It's possible, right? We use that to grab the attention, as well as the more native feel, to be a pattern interrupt. Because at the end of the day, you want to be different and stand out from your competition to actually get the scroll stop. So we do that, and then we use the actual copy on the ad. That's when you click see more, there's more. So we justify the $1,000. We provide some education as well. There were many that we launched, but these were 2 of the best. Another thing is we did test multiple different types of ads, and I'm going to be covering what those actually looked like. And at the end of the day, the biggest framework that we use is that most roofing ads look the same, so we chose to go in a complete different direction. And something just to note, when the market zigs, you zag. Now, I also want to cover very quickly our typical process for how we go about launching a campaign so that you can use this as well. Ultimately, the goal is to focus on ROI and sales. But because a sales process can be 2 to 3 weeks, we focus on metrics back to front initially. So we focus on leads first, and once we have enough leads, we can focus on appointments. And we're typically able to see leads to appointments quickly because we call leads for our clients, and we did for Matt as well, giving us greater access to data. Because what that allows us to do is allows us to see real time when the leads become an appointment. And once we have enough volume of appointments, then we can focus on getting qualified ones. And so we typically track something called an internal, it's called a lead score. It's something internal here, comprised of a few different factors, whether that be, credit score, what they mentioned on the call, what the problem is, how old the roof is, etc. However, we also need feedback from the sales rep, or in this case, Matt, that go on the appointment. So we want to see, hey, how do you rate it? It's subjective, but it's better. It's going to be more data that we can then use. So how was the appointment? Did they close? Did they show up, etc.? What was the value? And finally, once we know that we're getting qualified appointments, we can start to see where the actual sales and revenue is coming from and gas that. However, within each stage, we have to isolate different things. So we first typically test the offer, and then the messaging for how we frame the offer, then the format for, if we do longer videos, faster videos, professional graphics, native graphics, and then we also make sure we test the landing pages form to optimize that post-click experience. Now we test these 4 different things for every single one of these stages, and so it can take some time. Just the offer can take 2 to 4 weeks, and messaging, etc. And then we have to do it for all of these stages as well, because if we don't, we're not going to have enough data to move forward. And that's why we don't just start with sales. Because if we only optimize for sales right off the bat, there may not be any data that comes through. There may not be any leads or appointments or qualified appointments that come through. So we start off with leads so we can tweak it to then get appointments, to then tweak it to get qualified appointments, and ultimately get sales. Otherwise, we're just taking a shot in the dark, and we want to follow a process that we know will get us to the end point, opposed to just pulling the slot machine and seeing what comes out. So here, at the end of that 4 weeks, you guys can play this on your own. Just click the link below, download the full case study so you have it for yourself. But as you can see, he said he hasn't spent any time knocking this week. They're not feeling apprehensive, and he said that he got 4 in about 10 days, 4 sales in about 10 days. And you guys can watch this as well. And then everything went to shit after 3 weeks. He got 0 sales in these 3 weeks. He was still getting appointments, and so we thought things were going well. However, he didn't get any sales, and we should have been aware of the issue. So as you can see, he got some appointments. Now, the ones that are in red are all canceled, so don't look at those. However, what actually happened there? So he had 3 weeks and 6 appointments, which wasn't the best, but it was good. But we weren't made aware that he wasn't closing those appointments. So essentially what happened is all of the people that he had talked to in these 3 weeks either didn't have insurance or they couldn't use it. Essentially, it was people that he couldn't help. So as a part of our process above, we only add friction when necessary, right? That's why we go from leads to appointments and sales and all that, because it allows for higher volume and more data. But we don't want to add any friction when it's unnecessary. So we get the data first and then we act upon it. So we weren't qualifying for insurance initially, but you'll see what we did after this. And it's our fault that we didn't ask and communicate what was happening, and we let it happen for 3 weeks. So as you can see, he said, we asked him, hey, out of those 6, what have the numbers looked like? He said, pretty dismal. I haven't gotten anything. Now the good news is that it's solvable. It would just take time. It would just take time. And the next thing that we're going to cover is the 3 weeks it took to solve the issue and every single step that we took to make sure that we can get the right qualified people while also having a positive ROI. And if you want to see the step-by-step process we went through to solve this mess, ultimately leading to an extra 150K in sales and as high as an 81x ROI, then click the link in the description. It's going to have a link to the next video where I cover all of that. And there's also going to be a link if you want to download this full case study so that you can use it for yourself to hopefully get an extra $1 to $5 million in the next year.